Alright, so in this video I want to basically just go over geolocation, and also we'll add the functionality to start tracking and to get the starting position. Alright, so let's go take a look. Let's take a look at the API. Well, I don't know why this browser does this, but it does. HTML5 geolocation. Okay, so a good site to go to is the W3 schools. Alright, and this just gives us an example. Alright, so basically we have a function called getLocation. Alright, so in our case it's going to be start tracking, and we're going to test to see if the browser allows geolocation. Okay, so it's very easy. If navigator.geolocation, alright, so if it is supported, then it's going to call this navigator.geolocation.getCurrentPosition function. Alright, and this is going to take a callback function called showPosition, or whatever you want to call it, and it'll also take an error callback as well if there's some kind of error. Alright, in this example they don't have the error because it's optional, but we will be using it. And then if it doesn't support it, then it's basically just gonna spit out this text that it's not supported. Okay, so the callback, the show position callback, is down here. Basically you pass it this position parameter, and then you can use that object, that position, to get the latitude and the longitude. Okay, so that's basically it for the getCurrentPosition API. Alright, so down here is an example of an error callback. Alright, so basically there's a few different scenarios where you may get an error. Okay, so one is that the permission is denied, so that if the user gets asked if they want to allow their location and they say no, then this is going to run. Basically it's just going to output a message. Okay, same with position unavailable. For some reason it can't find it, if it times out, and then if there's some kind of unknown error. So those are basically the four scenarios where you would get an error using this API. Okay, displaying the result in a map. Okay, we're not going to really do this right now, so we can skip that. Let's see. Okay, so the watch position is what we're going to use to keep watching where we're going, and to kind of track where we are. Alright, so that uses a success and error callback as well. In this case we're using a callback called showPosition again. Alright, and in that function it's the same thing. You can use the position object to get your latitude and longitude, but it updates as you move. Okay, so that's the watch position API. So that's basically it. It's pretty easy, and it's pretty amazing when you take into account what you're actually doing, monitoring somebody's movement, and there's such a little amount of code to do this. Alright, so let's get started with the dynamic functionality of our app. We want the not done version. Alright, so if we go into script.js, so we're going to need to set some global variables. One is going to be called start POS. Okay, so start position, which is going to be where we start from. And then we're going to have a watch ID, because you need to have a watch ID if you want to use the watch position API. Alright, so our first function is going to be start tracking. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to first check and see if geolocation is supported by the browser. Alright, so we'll do a little if statement, if else. Alright, so basically we're just going to say if navigator dot geolocation. Okay, so if it's supported, we're going to do what we're going to do. If it's not, then I just want to send out an alert. Okay, so the alert, we'll just say geolocation is not supported in your browser, or by your browser would make more sense. Okay, so if it is supported, then let's take care of the buttons first. Okay, so if we click start, it's going to start this function. So we want the start tracking button to disappear, and then we want to have the stop tracking button appear. Alright, so we can do that with document.getElementById. Okay, and then the ID that we want here is start button, or start btn, and then we're going to say, we're going to use dot syntax and just say style dot display is equal to none. Alright, so I'm going to copy that. Okay, change this to stop button, and then we want to set that to display inline. Okay, so that'll make it appear. Alright, so now we want to get the position with navigator dot geolocation dot get current position. Alright, and basically we're going to have two callback functions. One's going to be show position, and then the next will be show error. Okay, and we'll create those in a little bit. Then what we want to do is we want the watch position API, and we're going to assign it to a watch ID. Okay, so I'm going to say watch ID navigator dot geolocation dot watch position, and then that's going to also take two callbacks. So I'm going to call this one show position update, just to differentiate it from the show position callback. And then the error is going to use the same error callback. Okay, so show error. Alright, so that's basically it. That's what we want to run when we click start tracking. So let's create the show position callback. Okay, now this callback is going to take in a parameter, okay, called position, and that's what we're going to use to get the latitude and longitude. Alright, so let's say that start position, okay, the variable that we set up here, which is a global variable, is going to be equal to position, alright, which is being passed in here. And then we're going to update the HTML inside of here. Okay, so the acquiring latitude and longitude, we want to change that to the actual position, to the coordinates. Okay, so we can use document.getElementById. Alright, and the first one is start lat, and we're just going to set inner HTML to start position dot chords dot longitude. I'm sorry, longitude, latitude. Okay, we'll do the same thing for the longitude. And we actually have a typo here, HTML. This should be HTML, obviously. Okay, so let's save this and just see what happens. We should get our starting position. Okay, which we don't. Show error is not defined, so that could be affecting it. So let's create the error callback. And that's going to take a parameter that we'll call error. Alright, so just having this, it should allow us to get the starting position. So I'm going to save and reload and start, and now you can see that we got our starting position. So I'm going to stop here, and then in the next video we'll finish the error callback, and we'll also implement the watch position as well, which I have commented out here just because it's going to be looking for this and we don't have it yet. Alright, so I will see you in the next video.